Well, hello, folks, and welcome again to the podcast. And I'm really happy for you all to get to know today Kiana and Andrew Joyner, who have joined me to talk about doing teen couples counseling, which I think is going to be pretty interesting stuff for most everybody. So, Kiana and Andrew, tell folks a little bit more about yourself and how you've landed where you've landed.
Yeah, good.
Sure. Well, I'm Andrew Joyner, and I'm a certified professional coach. My wife, Kiana, is a mental health therapist, and we started our practice a couple of years ago. Kind of had a long journey to get to where we are, but we ultimately came to the decision to do couples work based on a earlier venture that we started was a YouTube channel back during the pandemic. And so we really enjoyed doing that, but we felt like we really wanted to do direct client work. My wife was already a therapist, so I decided to go and become a certified professional coach. And we decided to do a joint venture together. My background is actually in human resources. I have over 15 years of corporate HR. I still work in that field today. So I get to leverage my coaching skills, outside of our practice as well. So why don't you share a little bit about your background? Em?
Yeah, so I'm Kiana, been a therapist for over 12 years. Started in the addiction and domestic violence and with young men in the correction field, and then transitioned to working with older adults. And now we do couples therapy, and I also have individual clients where I focus on high achieving women seeking more fulfillment. So we have kind of a whole combo that we're bringing to the table.
Yes.
Right. So I'm curious, how did you all land on doing this as a team approach? I know you mentioned you had kind of like we all did, had to shift gears during the COVID stuff, but
Yes.
Yeah.
yeah. So how has that come? How's that all that come about for you guys?
Yeah, so it really started as something as a foundation of our marriage where we said we're a team. That's the foundation. Everything we do is as a team. So we, like he said, started the YouTube channel. We're also certified wealth educators, and we did some of that work together, helping families, couples manage their household finances and get out of debt. And so we were always doing things as a team. And I think people saw that chemistry in the YouTube channel. And we, as Andrew said, we wanted to do more direct work with people. So we thought, hey, this is a great way to do it. I'm already doing therapy. You have your coaching certificate. Let's still keep that foundation of teamwork and, take that into the couples work because a lot of times, couples, especially those that may not feel as comfortable working with a single person, sometimes having two people in the room,
Hmm.
they may feel like it's balanced or just different perspectives that can be offered. So we thought it was just a unique offer to be able to approach our clients from that angle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we noticed that there wasn't very many couples doing this type of work together outside of maybe like the church environment where you might do couples counseling with the pastor and his wife or something along those lines. Um, there's definitely other couples doing some of this work, but it's we're definitely in in the minority in terms of married couples doing joint therapy together.
Well, I was reminded of, probably one of the most famous couples therapy couple is the Gottmans, and but I
Mhm.
don't ever recall them doing work with couples together. Doesn't mean that they haven't, but yeah, I love that. I love that perspective because I think it does help disarm things a little bit, probably for couples to see that you've got you're just having a conversation with another couple, really,
Mhm.
and helping them navigate all the ins and outs of couples work.
Yeah, I think it brings the relatability aspect.
Right.
And even though, she's professionally trained, I have professionally trained as a coach, we also can bring our practical experiences to the table so we can understand from an experience perspective what these couples are going through. And at times even share some of the challenges that we've also had that might relate and how we navigated some of those waters using the very skills and concepts that we share with our couples.
Mhm.
Right.
So it's kind of like a three-tiered,
Mhm.
piece where we have therapists sharing, we have a coach, and then we also have our practical experience of being married.
Right, right. And you've got the background with the financial management because that's always a hot topic within couples work is how you manage your finances. And, it's
Right.
usually money, sex, kids, and in-laws are usually the big,
Yeah.
big, big ones that people kind of bring to the table. Right, right.
Exactly.
Yeah.
For
What
sure.
are, yeah. So as you all have started doing this joint approach, what are you finding are kind of the main issues that people are bringing to you, coming to you as a couple?
Yeah, the number one is communication
Yeah.
issues.
Mhm.
I think it's realizing that that's the foundation for all other issues that they're bringing. So if there's challenges with intimacy, it's a lack of communication and emotional connection. If there's challenges with families or blended families, still lack of communication. If it's a challenge with expectations or role definitions, communications. So we really hone in on those communication skills and helping people to realize how they can be more clear in their communication, because many people think they're clear and they think they're making sense to their partner, and that's just not the case.
Yeah.
Right.
So really providing that clarity there is huge.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When we work with our couples, we look at it from a perspective of there are skills that we need to develop to create a successful marriage, a successful relationship.
Yeah.
And communication is ultimately a skill. It's not just a character trait. You know what I'm saying? It's not something that you put on a dating, profile. There's
Mhm.
actually legitimate skills that are needed to make sure that when we communicate, it's effective, that we walk away with shared understanding,
Right.
and that we have the opportunity to acknowledge and validate our partner's feelings while also aligning on the logistics or the fact.
Right.
So we really lay out for our couples a series of things that are important to do when you are communicating with your partner, to ensure that when you walk away from that engagement, you both are on the same page and we're moving in the same direction.
Mhm. Yeah. Where
Mhm.
where do you guys find that you get most of your referrals from? Or I'm sure that has been a thing like most practices, get developing those referral sources.
Yes, honestly, it's been Facebook.
Interesting.
Facebook groups.
There's a lot of kind of focus groups on Facebook, where it's maybe women. For me, it's like women focused groups in like local areas. Getting into those, because it tends to be for couples, the woman is looking into it and finding it. And sometimes, if it is a heterosexual couple, then sometimes dragging the guy in. But
Mhm.
I find that in those groups, I'm seeing people posting, hey, looking for a couples counselor, so people are posting those things. So then we'll just respond. And that's where we've gotten a ton of referrals. There's also some
Mhm.
professional, like healthcare professional groups, searching for those in your area and getting in those, especially if you have a certain niche that you really
Mhm.
hone in on.
Mhm.
So that's been huge as well. Just watching for those posts and responding, or if you have a virtual assistant, you could have them do that for you as
Psychology
well.
today.
Yeah, and psychology today as well. Sometimes other providers may be looking for a referral and they see that we match some of the things that they're looking for. But Facebook has been number one in those groups. So if you're not in any of those groups, definitely recommend finding some and using that as a referral source because it's free.
Well, I think one of the things I don't know how it is where you all and you remind me, you said you're in the Dallas area.
Yep.
Yes.
Um, I know in the Southeast, for the most part, couples therapists are not as prevalent as they are in other parts of the country. Is that something that you found in your area?
We've seen quite a few, but not the married duo, not
Right.
necessarily like that combo. There's
Right,
a lot of single
right.
practitioners that are doing the work. I feel like we found a decent amount kind of in this area too. I'm also licensed in Minnesota.
Hmm.
So we can also see clients there as well as in Texas.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's well, I guess where I was kind of going with that is that I know when I first went into private practice, one of the things that kind of set me apart in my area is that there weren't not many therapists that were doing couples work. And
Oh,
so it automatically kind of creates this whole niche that a lot of times people don't think about. And I think a lot of times too, depending on your training, people tend to shy away from couples work.
They do. I mean, it's hard.
Hmm.
It's hard. It takes a lot of energy and intentionality, and you're navigating two personalities, two backgrounds, maybe two mental health conditions or more, potential trauma in each of them. So there's a lot that you're
Hmm.
navigating. So it can be very intensive. So I appreciate doing it together.
All right.
So we can
Right.
play off that energy, or if I'm not sure what to say next, he'll pipe in, and it's a nice kind of synergy there.
Yeah,
yeah.
that's good.
I think our natural approaches from the therapist side of the world and from the coaching side of the world, she really focuses a lot on the emotional health, the mental health, what elements are in your past that might be contributing to what you're experiencing, patterns of behavior, things like this, abuse, if there's mental health disorders, etc. And then I really focus on, as a coach, helping them set their goals, set their intentions. What is it that we're trying to accomplish as a couple? Where do we see ourselves going? And then, helping them put the pieces in place to get there. We focus a ton, like I said, on skill development. So our sessions are a little bit of, you know, diving deeper into the feelings and stuff like that, but then also some teaching and guiding on skill
Hmm.
development.
Right.
And I think a lot of our couples are coming to us looking for some of that instruction, not just a space where they can share their feelings, but they also want to know, how do we improve? How do we communicate better? What do we have to do? What are the practical things we have to do to
Mhm.
communicate better, to align our finances, to improve dynamics in a
Hmm.
household? So I think it takes a little bit more when it's a couple. And then you have two people's perspective that you have to kind of balance in the session versus if it's just a one-on-one. So that dynamic can be a little challenging. Make sure they both have equal mic time in a sense.
Hmm.
Yeah.
And there's always seems to be one who's a little bit more verbal than the other. And I think the biggest benefit to having a couple in the session is it seems like, in at least in our heterosexual couples, the men open up a little bit more when there's another male in the session. They
Hmm.
feel like they have somebody not on their side, because we don't take sides, but this
Hmm.
it just feels like a little bit more of an inviting space for them. They can be a little bit
Right.
more vulnerable.
Yeah, I tend to find that as well. Being a male therapist, it seems like men are a little more comfortable talking with me than, yeah, and I don't want to be too stereotypical, or I'm just painting with a broad brush here, but yeah, I
Right.
tend to
Yeah.
find that as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
Yep.
people will seek out a male therapist as well, because the couple duo, that's not that common. So I have seen
Hmm.
people specifically asking for a male therapist because they want their partner to feel comfortable and not like it's just, the ladies ganging up or something like
Yeah.
that.
Oh, right. Right.
Right.
Yeah.
Because Gordon,
Well,
as you know, right, we're dealing with perception, and perception isn't always reality, right?
Mhm.
Whether that's in your relationship or just of the provider themselves. And so, we kind of have to acknowledge that to some degree, that there's a certain perception there, and so that's going to dictate how people engage with you, at least on the onset. But we make it very clear when we first meet with them that we're not here to take sides. We don't have an agenda.
Mhm.
We're really here to prioritize your goals, what you're saying you want to work towards, and we're going to hold you both accountable equally,
Mhm.
when necessary.
hmm
So don't come in thinking that, oh yeah, we got her. Like
hmm
that's not happening. So
Right. Well, what I love about the approach you're using is it's really, as most people know, the kind of the hallmark of good couples therapy is it's very process oriented and a more of a systemic approach of looking at not so much the content of what people bring, but how they navigate conflict and
yeah,
Mhm.
changing all of that up and teaching them new ways to communicate, like you said, which I
yeah.
think is
Mhm.
really good. Yeah. So,
Mhm.
if there were other people out there that are thinking, oh, this is a good approach, and I'd like to maybe think about doing partners couples work. What would be some things that you have learned that maybe you wouldn't want them to do, or maybe they've things you've learned the hard way, so to speak?
Are you referring to other providers?
Yeah. Yes. Yes.
Well, first off, I think you have to be realistic about the skill set you and your partner possess. Kiana and I are very highly trained. We have very specific, not only education and background, but personal skills that we bring to the table that really make this work. We work together really well as a team. That pre-existed us trying to start a business together. We have done many other ventures together prior to this. This wasn't our first foray into working together as a couple. So I think making sure that you and your partner are communicate well, you have really strong skills at how you navigate conflict between the two of you, and you treat it like a business so that you can stay organized and there's no room for miscommunication. Because even in our joint, there's still room for, things to fall through the cracks or miscommunication to happen.
Yeah.
And it would be a shame that that would then creep into your marriage, and it become a
Mhm.
wedge between you and your partner. So it's just really being honest and transparent with yourself, with your partner on where you guys stand and how well do you work together as a team in general.
All right.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, I would also add you have to be willing to do the work yourself. So if you have unresolved trauma, if you have unresolved issues with your partner, like every session, we have to make sure we're good.
Yeah.
Like anything from prior disagreements or anything like that, we have to make sure we have resolved that, address the feelings, come together to be on the same page. Otherwise, that energy is going to shift into the session. I'm going to
Sure.
feel like you
Sure.
interrupted me, or I was going to say something and you piped in. And
Hmm.
now I have an attitude and I'm trying to
Yeah.
provide therapy, because everything is very subtle. We do it virtually, but I think as most of us know, you can pick up a lot over video. It feels like you're sitting right in front of someone. So those very
Mhm.
subtleties, we have to make sure we've done our work and we work through anything we need to before we step into those sessions so that it's not a barrier and hindrance to helping our clients.
Yeah. I love your vulnerability with that, and that yeah, the home stuff can creep into work stuff, and I think for a couple people that are working with their spouse or working with their partner, yeah, that's something you have to be really hyper aware of, I would think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
After every session, we debrief with each other,
Yeah.
just kind of on our reflections on the session, how it went. We ask each other for feedback on what we shared or what we said in the session, and we kind of make sure we're on the same page there, so there's no miscommunications. We have this little
I was
totem.
gonna say,
We have this little
show.
totem heart thing that we use. It was something laying around our office, but we
Hmm.
use this and we kind of like slide it back and forth to one another. If one of us has something we want to share, we'll slide it over to ourselves, or if we're done, we'll slide it to the partner.
Or if one's talking too much, we'll
Yeah,
take it.
yeah. And so we kind
Yeah,
of balance each other, make sure we each get
love
equal
that.
time to
Yeah,
ask questions and engage. And so we've just found, like little small ways to do that to make sure one person isn't dominating the conversation.
Mm.
So we each equally can ask questions and
that's
share
great.
insights.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
love that. I love that. And that's modeling, I think, too, for couples, just
Mhm.
um yeah, just healthy communication and just being able to hear one another and I think as the Gottmans put it, being able to accept the other person's influence is
Yeah.
such an important piece of couples work, of just having a healthy relationship, is being able to do that.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because you
Yeah.
can't fake it.
All
You
right.
can't, and because you're on the fly, you're live,
Yeah.
All right.
right? There's no edits that you can make.
Yeah.
All right.
So if someone says something and if I felt something, they're gonna see it,
Yeah.
so like you
Yeah.
really have to be real, be very real with yourself and real with your partner.
Yeah.
Sure, sure. Well, that's great. That's great. Kiana and Andrew, I know we could probably spend all day talking about couples work. It's one of my favorite topics, but got to be
Absolutely.
respectful of your time. Tell folks how they can get in touch with you and that sort of thing.
Yes, you can go right to our website, souljourneyproject.com. You can book a consultation directly through there. We have articles, we have information about us, we have a journal on there as well. And we would love to connect with you and see where we go in the future. We're also on
Good.
Instagram at Soul Journey Project, as well as social as Facebook as well.
Right. Do you still have your YouTube channel?
It's not currently active. We
Paused it.
paused it for a little while to
Okay.
focus, really
Okay.
focus on our work with our couples and joining great podcasts like this one. And maybe one day in the future we'll reactivate
Yeah.
it and kind of switch it up a little bit. But
Yeah. I think people would like that. Yeah, I do.
yeah.
Mhm.
So good. Well, we'll have links here in the show notes and the
Show
show
notes and the
summary
show
for
summary.
people to get to all of this easily. And Kiana and Andrew, it's been a pleasure to have you.
Yeah.
Thank you, Gordon.
What an honor. Thank you so much. We appreciate it.
Oh, yes.